Bethesda responds to the rumors, ... It's a major twist. I don't know what this means. I have no idea. But I feel like we should see because I am intrigued. The clickbait is working. I'm part of the problem. I'm part of the problem, Matty.
Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today with another round of video game news. Today, we are focusing on Bethesda as they've been hit with a surprise twist, and I think we as well have been hit with a smidge of a surprise twist as it's been announced that Shinji Mikami...
Oh, yeah. Basically, he's going to run through this, so me explaining this is a waste of time, but I'm going to do it anyways. Basically, this is the guy that runs Tango DreamWorks, or DreamWorks, Tango GameWorks, and that's the team that put out Hi-Fi Rush, and he just announced he's retiring, which is really, really weird, because people are like, why is he retiring if he just had a really successful game? Oh my god. Plot twist.
Mikami is leaving Tango GameWorks. Now, you may see this video and think, well, what's the significance of that? But we're talking about a legend in the business leaving his own company and what this means for the future of Tango. You see, Tango really wasn't on the map for many up until Hi-Fi Rush. For me, I love The Evil Within 1. I have mixed feelings about 2, but Hi-Fi Rush is nothing short of fantastic. So many have found the timing really curious. You just had your most successful game. Why are you out? I did some research, I did some digging. We're going to cover the entire story here today on what's going on with Bethesda and Tango GameWorks and just calm the masses who may be reacting to this in a negative way. So ladies and gentlemen, if you are new here, you're into Bethesda news and information, you're in the right place. Consider subscribing. Let's begin at the top where the story broke overnight last night. This is the second video this week where we have news breaking at 2, 3 in the morning, and I'm like, okay, I guess tomorrow's video is probably set. We'll see what else happens. And so this was the biggest story of the day. So let's get started over at TrueAchievements.com.
That has been the last week for me. Friday, I was like, oh, well, we'll do this other video. And then the Suicide Squad stuff happened. I was like, we should talk about that. And then before this, Tom dropped the news on Assassin's Creed. It was cool to see him in here. That's super cool that he popped in to say hi. But he came in and you know, dropped the Assassin's Creed leaks and information. That was super cool. So yeah, it's been a wild week or so, but yeah, that's what we do.
Where they broke the story and they had an excerpt of an email sent by Todd Vaughn, who's senior VP over at Bethesda, and here are some noteworthy quotes from it. I am writing today to let you know that studio head Shinji Mikami has decided to leave Tango GameWorks in the coming months, Vaughn said. Mikami-san has been a creative leader in...
Oh, thank you, my babe. Much love. Love ya. Thank you. Ooh, cantaloupe and a salad. Wow. Wow, lucky me.
Supportive mentor to young developers at Tango for 12 years through his work on the Evil Within franchise, Ghostwire Tokyo, and of course, Hi-Fi Rush. In the email, Vaughn called Hi-Fi Rush one of the most successful launches for Bethesda and Xbox in recent years, adding that the rhythm-based action game has generated significant positive momentum for the business and Tango. I know the news isn't about that today, but we just need to acknowledge that Hi-Fi Rush is being considered by Bethesda in recent years. So I'm thinking Doom Eternal, Deathloop as fantastic games that did really well for them. And they're saying that Hi-Fi Rush is amongst the best of the best. That is really exciting because I think many of us want to see this become a series. The idea of Peppermint being fully playable, expanding that combat system, expanding the rhythm-based mechanics. There's so much potential in Hi-Fi Rush, and it feels like we're just scratching the surface of what that series can do. So I imagine a Hi-Fi Rush 2 is on the way, but Mikami is out, and this was subsequently confirmed by Bethesda in the morning today, where they posted a tweet with the following statement. We can confirm that Shinji Mikami has decided to leave Tango GameWorks in the coming months. We thank him for his work as a creative leader and supportive mentor to young developers on the Evil Within franchise, Ghostwire Tokyo, and of course, Hi-Fi Rush. We wish Mikami-san well in the future and are excited by what lies ahead for the talented developers at Tango. Okay, first question is probably why? Shinji Mikami is a legend in this business.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, he is retirement age. Sometimes people retire. I know it's weird, but sometimes it happens. So that could be it. And honestly, like, if I were going to retire, I'd probably want to retire right after a really successful launch of an experimental game. Like, why not go out on top? Like, if the game did terribly, and then he retired, I think people would be like, oh, it makes sense. Yeah. But now it's like it's received really well, and people are like, why is he leaving? This doesn't make any sense. It's like, man, maybe he just wants to go out while he's on the top.
Father of survival horror. He was there from the very beginning with Resident Evil. He went off, made his own company with Tango Gameworks. He brought in a lot of young developers, has served in a mentor role for quite some time now. He also worked on the likes of Vanquish, Beautiful Joe. I mean, when I say legendary, my man's track record will be talked about in video game history for eternity. Like, he has done some significant things. Now, you heard a key number there, 33 years. He's been at it for a while now, okay? So let's roll back the clock a little bit to the media promotion for Ghostwire Tokyo. This came out just at the top of last year from Tango. We thought that'd be it from them for a while, and that the first Xbox Tango game would be the Xbox port of Ghostwire. Well, during that media promotion, here is what Mikami had to say. Speaking to video games 24/7 as part of the media promotion for Ghostwire Tokyo, which he is executive producing, we'll go circle back around to that in a moment, Shinji Mikami hinted that he wants to personally direct one last game before retiring. There's no telling when that will happen, though. In the same interview, Mikami-san also said that his beloved survival horror genre is not at its peak, suggesting he may want to wait a bit for this last production. This isn't the first time that Mikami has suggested that he may want to retire, but the timing is curious, right? That he is leaving the studio now following Tango's biggest success.
I mean, it doesn't sound like there's much of a scandal here. He just said last year that he was going to retire. He wants to retire, not move on to a new studio or do other stuff. He says, yeah, I want to retire after my next game that I direct. And then he just retired.
Circle back to what Todd Vaughn wrote in his email, because calling Hi-Fi Rush among some of the most successful that Bethesda's put out in recent years is noteworthy, given that Tango has sort of been the bottom tier studio, if you will, when it comes to the whole Bethesda makeup. You of course have Bethesda Game Studios, you have Arcane, these are your top tier studios, you have id, and then you have like Tango sort of in the middle to bottom area. And they've never really been able to punch above their weight until finally now with Hi-Fi Rush. I loved the first Evil Within. I thought it was fantastic, but a lot of people were pretty lukewarm on it. A lot of folks were also kind of lukewarm on Evil Within 2, but as the years go on, I see more positive talk about it. And then Hi-Fi Rush has received universal praise. It's done very well. It's clearly the company's most successful game. So some folks may go, why now when you just had your most successful title? Well, what a lot of people don't know is that Mikami's been in a bit of a mentor role for over the last decade. He hasn't directed a game in over 10 years. In fact, he's served as executive producer on the company's last 2 games. Now, every company functions differently in what each role means to a particular person, but typically speaking, executive producing is like, we'll say, overviewing a project, providing advice, helping manage the project, so on and so forth. Not, it's his vision from top to bottom, right? Who's actually been spearheading the last 2 projects is John Johannes, and this name may be familiar to you because it's become very popular as of late when it comes to Hi-Fi Rush. He has directed Hi-Fi Rush. He directed The Evil Within 2. This is noteworthy because I view this moment here as Shinji probably taking some time off and passing the torch. You see, his whole team was built.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me. I don't know. To me, it's kind of a non-story. It's just like, he decided to retire after a very successful game. For shame. I'm like, yeah, so, okay. Cool. I don't know. To me, it doesn't seem that scandalous. If I were going to retire, I'd rather retire when the company's booming, like, and taking off. You know?